Yo, time to wake 'em up!
Bonjour et bienvenue sur Discover 360. J'espère que cette chaîne vous plaira. Elle est consacrée à l'intelligence artificielle, au voyage et à la tech.
Yo, check the mic, 1, 2.
N'oubliez pas de souscrire. Bonne écoute.
Next cipher begin.
All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're unlocking 5 powerful brain hacks, all backed by some pretty serious neuroscience. These are the exact techniques that top performers use to just crush procrastination and get into that incredible state of focus. And, we're going to show you exactly how you can use them too. So let me ask you something. Have you ever had that feeling like your own brain is secretly working against you? Like it's got this hidden agenda to make you put off your most important goals? Well, guess what? You're not crazy. You're actually right. And here's the wild reason why. Your brain is basically running on software that's like 50,000 years old. It was designed for one thing and one thing only, survival. And that means its number one job is to conserve energy at all costs. So when it sees you about to start a big, difficult project, it doesn't see an opportunity. No, it sees a threat, an unnecessary waste of energy, kind of like chasing a mammoth you don't even need to eat. But here is the really good news. You are not stuck with the factory settings. Not at all. Your brain can absolutely be reprogrammed. The hacks we're about to walk through are the exact software updates used by people like Bill Gates, by Olympic athletes, and even Navy SEALs to override that ancient, lazy programming and just perform at their absolute peak. So, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the ugly sentence to smash through any creative block. Then we'll install a mental on switch for instant focus. After that, we'll learn how to leverage the unfinished task, master cognitive batching, and we'll finish up with the incredibly powerful law of 3. All right, hack number 1, the ugly sentence. This is for any of you who have ever just stared at a blank page or a new project and felt completely and totally paralyzed. We've all been there. Okay, so picture this. It's 1973. A young Stephen King is so frustrated with his novel Carrie that he literally just throws the whole manuscript in the trash. But his wife, Tabitha, she fishes it out, and she gives him this one piece of simple advice. And that advice? It unlocked what would become a global phenomenon and basically changed literary history. So what is the neuroscience behind this magic? Well, a researcher named Dr. John Cunios found that our brain has these 2 modes. When we try to be perfect from the get-go, we activate our critical mode, which is like a bouncer that just shuts down all creativity. The secret then is to sneak past that inner critic by intentionally being imperfect. And the process couldn't be simpler. You just write one awful, ugly sentence. Something like, "This report is boring, but I have to do it." Boom, done. See, your brain hates a vacuum, but it loves to fix and improve things. You've just given it some raw material to work with, and believe me, getting from 0 to 1, that's always the hardest part. Okay, let's move on to hack number 2, the mental on switch. So we've managed to start the task, but how do we get into that state of deep, unbreakable focus, like right now? Well, think about the absolute legends. Michael Phelps did the exact same arm swings for every single race for 15 years. Serena Williams, she bounces the tennis ball exactly 5 times. This isn't just a quirky superstition, it's a very precisely engineered psychological trigger. What they're creating is called a neuronal anchor. Neuroscientists have actually shown that when you repeatedly pair a unique trigger, like a sound or a gesture, with a specific mental state, your brain literally builds a neural highway. And eventually, just firing that trigger is enough to send you straight into that state of focus. It's amazing. So here's how you can build your own. First, pick a unique trigger. It could be a specific song you only listen to for work, a certain scent, or even a phrase you say to yourself. Second, you have to define the exact state you want to access, like uninterruptible creative flow. And finally, you have to be religious about it. Use that trigger every single time you start your deep work. No exceptions. On to hack number 3, the unfinished task. Now this one is all about exploiting a natural and kind of funny bug in your brain's operating system to create some serious momentum. It's called the Zeigarnik effect. It's named after a psychologist, Bluma Zeigarnik, who back in 1927 noticed something fascinating. Waiters in a Berlin cafe could remember every single detail of unpaid orders, even really complicated ones. But the second the bill was paid, poof, they'd instantly forget the order. She realized our brains have this deep, deep obsession with finishing what they start. And this effect is incredibly powerful. I mean, we're not talking about a small thing. In her studies, people remembered tasks they were interrupted on 90% better than tasks they were allowed to finish. Modern brain scans actually confirm this. When a task is open, a part of your prefrontal cortex just stays lit up, creating this kind of mental tension that's constantly nudging you towards finishing it. So here's how you can weaponize this effect. I call it the 120-second primer. You pick a task you were just dreading, and you define the tiniest possible first step. Then you set a timer for just 2 minutes, and you go, giving yourself complete permission to stop when the timer goes off. But here's the trick. You probably won't. The moment you start, that Zeigarnik effect kicks in, and your brain just screams for closure. Let's talk about hack number 4, cognitive batching. Now this one goes directly against one of the biggest myths in the entire world of productivity. Let me just be crystal clear. Multitasking is a lie. It doesn't exist. Research from Stanford has proven, without a doubt, that what we think of as multitasking is actually just rapid task switching. Your brain isn't doing 2 things at once. It's just frantically jumping back and forth between them. And that is mentally exhausting. And that switching, man, it comes at a massive cost. Every single time you switch tasks, even if it's just for a quick glance at an email, it takes your brain an average of 23 minutes to get back to its original level of deep concentration. Just think about that. How many times do you do that in a single hour? So the solution is something called cognitive batching. First, just audit your day. See how often you're actually switching tasks. Then you start grouping similar work together into batches. So all your emails in one block, all your research in another. Finally, and this is key, you quarantine those batches. Schedule these distraction-free blocks where you only work on one family of tasks. That's it. And now for our final and maybe the most profound hack of them all. This one is taken straight from the Navy SEALs playbook for performing under extreme pressure. It's hack number 5, the law of 3. You might have heard that famous story about Warren Buffett giving advice to his pilot. He told him, listen, list out your top 25 career goals. Now, circle the 3 most important ones. And then he said the crucial part, avoid the other 22 like the plague. Because those other goals, they are just seductive enough to distract you, but they're not important enough to actually move the needle. The science behind this is something called decision fatigue. Research shows that our willpower, it's not infinite. It's a finite resource, like a muscle that gets tired. A massive to-do list drains your mental energy before you've even started the day, which leads you to make worse and worse choices as the day goes on. So here is how you apply it. First, do a brain dump. Get every single task out of your head and onto paper. Then, you sort them by impact, urgency, and ease. And here's a crucial step. You only choose one task from each of those categories. That's it. Those are your 3 targets for the day. Nothing else matters. And that brings us right to the final question I want to leave you with. Just for a moment, forget that endless, overwhelming to-do list. If you were to apply the law of 3 right now, today, what would be the 3 things that would truly make a difference?